Hi, my name is EJ Massa. Where were you when you first fell in love with it? Do you remember the place? Do you remember the day? I remember. It was the spring of 2012. I was working at an IT help desk, and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, you see that new Game of Thrones show? It's on HBO. HBO has good shows." I said, "I have not. I do not like fantasy shows. I do not like how they take regular names and then try to make them exotic by adding a bunch of Y's. I don't like wizards. I don't like spells. And I don't like dragons." Oh no, EJ, it's barely fantasy. I mean, there's guys have regular names like Robert and Ned, and one guy's named Joffrey, but it kind of sounds like Jeffrey, and there's nary a spell in it. So you might like it. And he handed me a thumb drive with all the episodes from season 1. "Look, officer, I don't know where he got that thumb drive." And on my day off, I was about to watch some fucking nonsense on YouTube, and I thought, hey, maybe I should mix it up. I'll give this fantasy show a shot. HBO makes good things. The Wire, Boardwalk Empire, The Wire. These are good shows, so I'll take a gander. And then I was hooked. I didn't even know Sean Bean was in this. The fuck kind of show is this? 006? Boromir? He's in this? Yes, it was fantasy, but the dialogue was smart, the actors had great chemistry, the locations felt real, and it didn't do any of those fantasy tropes that I hate so much. And I blew through the whole thumb drive on my day off from work, and I was ready for more. So I bought all the books and read all the books, and season 2 was right around the corner, so I watched those week to week. And I went on the subreddit and learned that Benjen is Dario and R plus L equals J. And you fast forward to today, I'm spending a great deal of my time making Game of Thrones reviews. But the first season was the catalyst, with its pitch-perfect storytelling. Now, I debated whether or not to keep these season 1 reviews spoiler-free, just in case newcomers wanted to follow along, but I ultimately decided against it. 1, I'm horrible at keeping things a secret, and I'm sure I'll slip up. And 2, it's more interesting for me personally to look at season 1 in the context of the other seasons. So that's a warning to first-time watchers that I might be spoiling the rest of the series. So we start off with a cold opening. Literally, because of the snow, you see. Still got it. We join a group of Night's Watchmen going for a ranging on the other side of the wall. The leader just radiates entitlement. Might as well be wearing a pink polo shirt at the clubhouse. "Excuse me? I thought I said medium rare. This is clearly medium well." It's funny. Everything seems so bright in this scene. I feel like if this was in a later season, it would be so dark you could barely see and way more blue. I kinda like being able to see what's happening. The dude with the gross hat stumbles upon some body horror art. It looks like finger painting compared to the art from later seasons. Looks like the White Walker went to White Walker art school between seasons. Fun fact, in the book they're called the Others. And now I don't know this for certain, but they probably renamed them White Walkers because of the popularity of the show Lost, which also featured a mysterious group called the Others. Now what they couldn't predict is the popularity of the show The Walking Dead, which features zombies called Walkers. So they're sandwiched between the Others and Walkers. They can't win. The dirty men just want to get the fuck out of there, but that little smug lord dares them to put their fingers inside the dead bodies and maybe wiggle it around a little. But too bad, all the bodies disappeared and spooky mystery music plays. I like the spooky mystery music. I love it. The old dude finds some meat or something, and holy shit, White Walkers! Although it's all shadowy to cover up the fact that the production team hasn't nailed down the design yet. Will stumbles upon the spooky girl doing spooky stuff. Let's break it down. Sweet looking girl, huge eyes, dead, and dissonant music. Sufficiently spooky. I give it 3.5 ghosts. Finally, the White Walker cuts off the head of the dirty man and throws it to the dirty rat boy. Then we get the first frickin' intro. Man, if you weren't all in by the time this theme song rolled in, well, I just don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. This map was especially helpful in the early seasons to properly orient you on where all these characters were in relation to each other. It's a really clever, interesting sequence all on its own, but it also serves that secondary function of informing the audience. It's just so good, and it blew my mind when they started adding in new areas as the story progressed. So we join Rat Boy with his dirty old hat and whoa, hold on, location titles? I forgot those were in there, and they almost seem out of place. I expect this show to just throw a bunch of locations and characters at me that I have to keep a wiki tab open to follow. Anyways, at Winterfell, the Stark family is standing around the camera frame so you can get a good look at them.
Go on. Father's watching.
Oh, thanks, Jon Snow. I'm sure any kid would perform better knowing their parent is standing on high judging their every move. Oh, Rickon, you may be laughing at failed archery now, but you might sing a different tune later. Hey everybody, look, it's Arya. She's the tomboy. You can tell she's the tomboy because she's better at the bow and things. Better than the stupid boy. Tomboy. Sir Roderick shows up and I would make fun of this, but it's a bold choice. You be you, Roderick. Everyone is just jealous. Roderick tells him about the rat boy they caught, and Ned is like, oh sweet, I can't wait to murder him in front of my children. Catelyn complains that Ten is too young to witness an execution, but Ned says,
And winter is coming.
Look, Ned, you can't win every argument by saying that. Ned, will you take out the goddamn trash? No, dear. Winter is coming. Oh. Okay. So Rat Boy is sorry he got scared by the magic snow people. It's a pretty good defense. Man, can somebody get him some chapstick, please? Maybe a little Burt's Bees up in here? Vaseline? Maybe? Okay. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Can't have chapped lips if you don't have a stupid face.
Hey, Dad, are White Walkers real?
Nah, and even if they are, I'm sure they'll just wander around north of the wall for 4 or 5 seasons. On the way back from the execution event, they find a gross dead deer, and like any group of boys, they want to poke at it with a stick. And a little down the way, they find a direwolf with some epic foreshadowing lodged into his chest. The mother left behind some wolf pups, and Theon gets so excited. Ah, sweet puppy murder. Not so fast, Theon. Father, there's 5 puppies, 1 for each of your children. And the direwolf is a sigil of your house, don't you know? Thanks, Mr. Exposition. Shut up and have a puppy. We now turn to King's Landing, and I'm not used to those titles being there. And this is probably the scene everyone tuned out as soon as they saw the weird rocks on their eyes. Fuck this weird shit. I'm getting some nachos. Anyways, that's Jon Arryn, Hand of the King. He did. That's all you need to know. We are then introduced to Cersei and Jaime.
As your brother, I feel it's my duty to warn you.
I fucking love lines like this.
As your brother.
It's a completely unnatural thing to say, and it's exclusive to TV shows and movies to quickly establish relationships. Look, I know it's not easy. George R. R. Martin introduces like 70 million characters in the book, and you have to introduce at least a dozen or more actual important ones in the span of the hour the pilot gives you. You have to be economical about your dialogue. Plus, you have to really establish these guys' relationship before the reveal at the end of the episode, or else it won't have any impact. Are there more subtle ways to do it? Absolutely. But it might go over some audience members' heads with all the other nonsense you're throwing at them. Ned's praying in the gods would. And what a magical scene. Rays of light piercing through the branches, the morning fog, and a beautiful reflecting pool.
That black pool was filled with black paint to make it reflective.
Oh. Ned prays next to some disgusting black tar pit. Cat breaks the news that Jon Arryn is dead. Ned is bummed out because he was like a dad to him. Not only that, the king writes for Winterfell, and you know what that means. Motherfucker can't go 2 seconds without an advisor. He needs a nerd to do his homework while he plays football and goes to keggers. So everybody's getting ready for the king's arrival. You gotta make the food, and all the boys need to compare their abs. At least they're showing us male bare chest before they get to the ladies. Bran sees the king's caravan coming from a high turret. I love my legs, I love my legs. I love climbing and I love my legs. I sure love my carefree mobility.
Gods, but they grow fast.
They sure do. I love this awkward puppy phase. You have to cherish it before they turn to full-grown CGI. Make way for the douche procession. You have Cunty and Dogman and who is this again?
That's Jaime Lannister, the Queen's twin brother.
Thanks, unnatural ADR. Even the writers were embarrassed by it.
Our finest moment of script writing.
Yeah.
The ADR we added later too.
Brilliant dialogue.
You gotta leave subtlety to the books. We gotta make sure you know this. Jaime also reminds me of the prince from Shrek 2. With that haircut, you're instantly infuriated with him. He's got the douche hair. Sansa seems to have taken a shine to little Cunty. Love at first sight always works out, like in Shakespeare, oh fuck. Then we meet King Robert in all his glory. Up until this point, everyone acts all proper. You have the Honorable Ned and Lady Catelyn talking like proper lords and ladies, and well, these people don't act like real people, all stiff and over serious. So when you have a king in this world who acts like basically a stunted frat boy, well, now you have my attention.
You got fat.
I'm fucking sold, Bobby B. He's a barbarian conqueror who rose to the highest ranks, a position he's woefully unqualified for. This is one of the moments that really sold me on the series. You have these 2 old friends and you can instantly feel the chemistry and history between them. It's almost like reconnecting with a high school friend after so much time has passed. Bobby B drags Ned into the crypts where he names him Hand of the King.
Damn it, Ned, stand up.
I love this shit. Bobby wants to seal the deal by marrying Cunty to Sansa. One interesting note about this scene, it's one of the original scenes from the original pilot shot in 35mm film, as opposed to the Arri Alexa digital camera for the rest of the series. There's many things different about this pilot, including different actresses for both Dany and Catelyn. I don't think this pilot has ever been made public, but I'd love to see it to see how it's different from the one we got. Imagine a universe without this smug mug. Alright, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, your first scene of Sexposition. HBO mandated boobs and butts, and you know you want it. And what better character to usher that in than Tyrion Lannister? Look how economical this scene is. You find out right away that Tyrion thinks he's smart, he drinks, and he loves whores.
And I love boiling denim and banging whores.
Plus you find out he's this guy's brother. Who is he again?
That's Jaime Lannister, the Queen's twin brother.
Thanks, awkward ADR. This scene is also the first scene with Roz, a show-invented character who basically becomes a token whore. It's one of the show-only characters that acts as a combination of several book characters to facilitate the plot in some ways. Unfortunately, the audience didn't love this character as much as the writers did, and I'm sure casual audiences barely remember who she is. For book readers, she kind of became a symbol of show-invented nonsense, and I agree, she wasn't the most well-executed character. But that's not to say all show-invented efficiencies are bad. Some were good. But sometimes, you get a Roz. Back in the crypts, Bobby B mourns Lyanna, his dead fiancé, who was abducted and killed by Rhaegar Targaryen. Cough, cough. Every night he dreams of killing Rhaegar. Ned's like, calm down, bro, we killed all them children of the corn motherfuckers. Cut to these children of the corn motherfuckers. Oh, sweet innocent Daenerys Targaryen. Not 1 ounce of smugness on her mugness. Her brother comes by and engages in, not very brotherly behavior. Dude wants to marry off Dany in exchange for an army so he can take back Westeros from Bobby B. But he's pissed off at Dany's meekness.
You don't want to wake the dragon, do you?
You know what, man? That line probably sounds better in your head. Dany decides to take a bath in steaming hot foreshadowing. Dany wears a dress so she can be all like, tits out for the boys, tits out for the boys. This guy Illyrio welcomes the prospective husband, Conan the Barbarian. He tried so hard, guys. Conan's like, oh yes. And he rides off. Although for some reason the brother expects more pomp and circumstance from a cartoon barbarian. Alright, the dude is gone. Can somebody get Dany a cardigan? She looks freezing.
I would let his whole tribe fuck you. All 40,000 men and their horses too.
I guess that's asking for too much. The function of this scene is to more fully introduce Sansa as a shallow little noble lady. That's all I got. I didn't write any jokes for this scene. I'm a goddamn failure, I'm leaving. At the feast, Bobby B is being Bobby B. And outside, Jon greets his Uncle Benjen and he begs and begs his uncle to take him up to the wall, where he can live a sexless existence in the cold. You know, what every young man wants. Tyrion shows up and he's pre-gaming for the feast. He and Jon have a touching moment about being outcast, and it's one of those scenes that showcases the amazing dialogue from the books.
All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.
It's one of my favorite moments in the series. Sure, you have the fun raging pervert Tyrion, but this is the first glimpse of the melancholy underneath the surface. And it reveals why Tyrion quickly became a fan favorite. Ned and Benjen quickly talk about the deserter and White Walkers and exchange catchphrases.
Winter is coming.
Sansa tries to exchange pleasantries with Cersei.
Have you bled yet?
Oh, Cersei, jeez! Let me order you a book of icebreakers. Later that night, Ned and Cat get a message from Cat's sister saying that the Lannisters murdered Jon Arryn. It puts Ned in an awkward situation because he's supposed to be Hand of the King, and Hand of the Kings are being murdered in them parts. Dany's getting married to Conan the Barbarian, and it gets pretty wild.
A Dothraki wedding without at least 3 deaths is considered a dull affair.
Then they love the kind of wedding this guy throws. Oh, you see, this is a common mistake. When you're making a wedding registry, you think, of course, box of snakes. What a luxury. You scan it at Bed Bath & Beyond with one of those guns. But it's just gonna go straight into the closet next to the fondue pot. We then meet Jorah, who gives Dany a bunch of books about Westeros. He's so fucking hot, and his voice is so sexy. I'd let him read me those books. I'd let him read me those books every night. Illyrio got her some dank-ass Fabergé eggs, which I'm sure will not be important to the plot in any way. That box of snakes, on the other hand. Anyways, Conan gets Dany a horse.
I don't know how to say thank you in Dothraki.
There is no word for thank you in Dothraki.
Oh, thank God, I don't have to waste time on thank you cards for his side of the family. They ride off to the beach and, man, for a guy that only says no, he sure doesn't realize that no means no. In the books, it's slightly less rapey because Drogo actually tries to get consent from Dany, but she's also 13 in the book, so it's Really not much better. It's not much better at all. Ned and Bobby B go out hunting, and Bran totally obeys his mother by climbing a tower. I love my legs. I love my legs. He stumbles upon Jaime and Cersei, and they're doing it. Can you imagine? Boys are so spoiled nowadays. Back then you had to climb a whole tower to look at porn. Jaime decides to do the reasonable thing and murder a child. He's level-headed and cool. Problem solver. Now that's how you end a pilot. Game of Thrones is known for its huge moments of subverting fantasy tropes, and this is one of the biggest ones early on. Bran is almost set up as a Luke Skywalker type character, training and failing to be a soldier.
You'll be a soldier.
They take time to show his climbing and sense of adventure, but with this ending, you're not really sure of the outcome anymore. And there's other subversions here and there. Bobby B is not the wise old king, nobody saves the princess at the last minute, and Prince Charming is fucking his sister. Of course, Game of Thrones has subverted tropes so often that trope subversion has become a trope. But man, it's extremely rewarding to go back and watch the humble beginnings of the show, which really only has 2 locations, being Winterfell with the Starks and across the Narrow Sea with the Targaryens. In later seasons, the scope of the story has expanded so much that you hit so many different locations, you never feel completely satisfied with one given area. Here it's nice and simple and condensed. The pilot had the extremely difficult task of introducing so many characters, and maybe some more elegantly than others.
That's Jaime Lannister, the Queen's twin brother.
But it laid the groundwork for a world that feels lived in and has a deep history, and it made me want to dive right in. Everything just felt on point. The characters, the acting, the costume design, and some really decent child actor performances. It's a great pilot, and I'd certainly love to see the one that they can. Apparently the showrunners are fucking embarrassed by it, so that's even more of a reason. Maybe they'll include it on a complete Blu-ray collection someday. Feels really good to get back into the Game of Thrones review and swing of things. I wouldn't expect one every week because I want to take my time and really make them as high quality as possible. So, until next time, see you later. Bye-bye. I'm gonna make the next one.